It's okay. Good morning, and welcome to All People's Church Unitarian Universalist. My name is Mary Kerwin, and it's great to see you here for our Sunday service. We extend greetings to any of you who might be visiting for the first or second time. If you haven't done so, feel free to add your name and contact information at the visitors table located next to the front door. Our worship this morning is a little bit different. It's a member-led service featuring the annual Unitarian Universalist Association Side with Love pre-recorded sermon, as well as some other segments from the service entitled, "What If I Only Had 30 Days to Love?" And our All People's Church Choir will sing today in special observance of November being Indigenous Peoples Month. But before we move on to worship, there are several announcements to share. First, today is our first Sunday monthly potluck luncheon served in Coleman Hall after worship. Everyone is invited, even if you did not bring a potluck dish to share. You are more than welcome to join us. Second, our church fundraiser, dinner and service auction of goods and services will be next Saturday evening, November 12th. I believe we are still accepting your donations for the auction, but we'll need them no later than today or tomorrow. Check with Dan Sexton at the table in the lobby to turn in your donation forms and buy tickets. Raffle tickets are also on sale for the beautiful quilt on display. The winning ticket will be drawn at the conclusion of our live auction on Saturday night. You do not need to be present to win the raffle quilt. Our third announcement, the Spectrum Chamber Music Society presents their concert, Brahms, Tangos, and a Touch of Rota, here at All People's Church on Monday, November 14th at 7:30 p.m. Admission is free, however, free will donations are welcome. A special feature is that our own Misha Bereshnev will be performing the Brahms Quartet in G minor for piano and strings. Yay, Misha. We'll be hosting a reception in the library following the concert. If you're coming to the concert, please consider bringing a plate of cookies, cheese and crackers, finger sandwiches, etc. to share. We'd also be grateful for any cash donations to help offset the cost of purchasing reception food and drink. Check with David Bindi if you have any questions about the concert or the reception. And last but not least, our fall congregational meeting is today at 1 p.m., immediately following the potluck lunch here in the sanctuary and electronically on Zoom. All members, please be sure to sign in for the meeting in order to assure that we have a quorum. Members are eligible to vote if you have joined the church at least 30 days before today. Now, please settle in as we proceed to worship with our musical prelude. Thank you, Misha. And our call to worship this morning is a litany from the 30 Days to Love service.
What if I only had 30 days to love? 30 days to love this life, these people, this earth.
What if I only had 30 days for praise, for admiration, for reverence? 30 days to love my God.
What if I only had 30 days for lament, for hopelessness, for loss? 30 days to be with the absence that proclaims the space for love.
I would love like an action. I would love with my full, courageous body.
I would love without apology. I would love with my full, courageous spirit.
I would love like the holy. I would love with my full, courageous presence.
Without apology.
Like an action.
Like the holy.
And it would hurt, and it wouldn't be easy. You know this. It couldn't be easy.
And it would be confusing, like a pandemic is confusing, because it would wipe away everything I had come to expect.
And the scarcity. The scarcity of time and space for love would make my heart pound with excitement and disquiet. But for those 30 days, love would be unfolding.
Without apology.
Like an action.
Like the holy.
Because what else does life demand but love? It is the abundance that knows no ending. It is what we find when just moments before, we had found nothing.
So give us 30 days to love, and you will know our abundance. our unfolding.
I now invite you to please stand for the chalice lighting, the opening hymn, and our spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting is by Dorothea Kaufman. From the bottom of my very existence, I am pervaded with light energy, shining colors to my eye, warmth to my skin, inspiration to my soul. In this unity of creative sparks and sparkling creation, life unfolds. Let us open our senses to the light within and around us and send it out with shining examples into the world. And now please join in singing our opening hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come to me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free.
Spirit of life, come to me.
Come to me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. Joe Burnett now has our story for all ages. We invite Joe and the children to please come forward.
Come on, you can sit up here too. Come on. Okay. This story is from our First Nations brothers and sisters, the Onondaga tribe from the Northeast Woodlands. This story is called The Earth on the Turtle's Back. Before this earth existed, there was only water. It stretched as far as one could see, and in that water there were birds and animals swimming around. Far above in the clouds there was a skyland. In that skyland there was a great and beautiful tree. It had 4 white roots which stretched to each of the sacred directions, and from its branches all kinds of fruits and flowers grew. There was an ancient chief in Skyland. His young wife was expecting a child, and one night she dreamed that she saw the great tree uprooted. The next morning she told her husband the story. He nodded as she finished telling her dream. "My wife," he said, "I am sad that you had this dream. It is clearly a dream of great power, and, as is our way, when one has such a powerful dream, we must do all that we can to make it come true. The great tree must be uprooted." Then the ancient chief called the young men together and told them that they must pull up the tree. But the roots of the tree were so deep, so strong, that they could not budge it. At last the ancient chief himself came to the tree. He wrapped his arms around it, bent his knees, and strained. At last, with one great effort, he uprooted the tree. And now a big pole. The wife of the chief came close and leaned over to look down, grasping at one of the tips of the great tree's branches to steady her. It seemed as if she saw something down there far below, glittering like water. She leaned out further to look, and as she leaned, she lost her balance and fell into the hole. Her grasp slipped off of the branch, leaving her with only a handful of seeds as she fell. Down and down and down she went. Far below in the waters, some of the birds and animals looked up. "Someone is falling towards us from the sky," said one of the birds. "We must do something to help her," said another. Then 2 swans flew up. They caught the woman in the sky between their wide wings. Slowly they began to bring her down toward the water where the birds and the other animals were watching. "She's not like us," said one of the animals. "Look, she doesn't have webbed feet. I don't think she can live in the water." "What shall we do then?" said another of the water animals. "I know," said one of the water birds. "I have heard that there is earth far below the waters. If we dive down and bring up earth, then she will have a place to stand." So the birds and the animals decided that someone would have to bring up earth. One by one they tried. The duck dove down first, some say. He swam down and down, far beneath the surface, but could not reach the bottom and floated back up. Then the beaver tried. He went even deeper, so deep that it was all dark, but he could not reach the bottom either. The loon tried, swimming with his strong wings. He was gone for a long, long time, but he too failed to bring up the earth. Soon it seemed that all had tried and all had failed. And then a small voice spoke up. "I will bring up the earth or die trying." They looked to see who it was. It was the tiny little muskrat. She dove down and swam and swam. She was not as strong or as swift as the others, but she was determined. She went so deep that her lungs felt ready to burst, but she swam deeper still. At last, just as she was becoming unconscious, she reached out with one small paw and grasped the bottom, barely touching it, before she floated up, almost dead. When the other animals saw her break the surface, they thought she had failed. Then she saw her paw that held a piece of earth tightly shut. "She has the earth," they said. "Now where can we put it?" "Place it on my back," said a deep voice. It was the great turtle who had come up from the depths. They brought the muskrat over to the great turtle and placed her paw against his back. To this day there are marks on the back of a turtle's shell, which were made by the muskrat's paw. The tiny bit of earth fell on the back of the turtle. Almost immediately, it began to grow larger and larger and larger, until it became the whole world. Then the 2 swans brought the sky woman down. She stepped onto the new earth and opened her hand, letting the seeds fall onto the bare soil. From those seeds, the trees and the grass sprang up. Life on earth had begun. From the young wife's dream to the events that follow, this is a story of sacrifices that bring new life. The great tree is uprooted, yet its seeds become the source of plants on earth. Muskrat tries so hard to reach the bottom of the water that she nearly dies. Her determination helps her to succeed in bringing up the earth, where others who were stronger and faster had failed. The great turtle gives his shell to hold the earth, and the seeds brought by the great chief's wife bring life to what we now know as this, our earth. Thank you.
Place. Let there be an offertory to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. We support human rights with our Share the Plate program, and it is our custom to share the undesignated cash offerings of our collection plate. Our recipient today is RAICES, which stands for the Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services. The offertory will now be gratefully received, and will the ushers please come forward?
Songs that we're singing this morning are the Pawnee Prayer and a Native American prayer. I also have another poem that I'd like to read to you. It also comes from the Pawnee Nation. O eagle, come with wings outspread in sunny skies. O eagle, come and bring us peace, thy gentle peace. O eagle, come and give new life to us who pray. Remember the circle of the sky, the stars, and the brown eagle, and the great life of the sun, and the young within their nests. Remember the sacredness of things.
We turn our minds and hearts to the joys and celebrations amongst us, as well as all those who need our love and support at a time of sadness, illness, or loss. As you are so moved, we invite you to light a candle now or at any time during the service in our meditation center here to the side of the chancel. At our church, we covenant to share our happiness and our burdens. And in doing so, it is our intention to be authentically present to one another. In our book of memory and hope this morning, we have been asked to share several stories. One is that we wish happy birthday to Paul Shatman today. Happy birthday, Paul. Another is that Dale husband is happy that he finally got his home's oven repaired after 2 weeks. And another story is that we wish many thanks to our unsung hero, Bill McGinnis, for all he does, making coffee on Sundays, doing building maintenance and grounds, etc., etc., etc. And let us also include in our circle of concern those beyond our immediate community, especially to all the people in the United States going to the polls on Tuesday for the midterm elections, that there be safety and fairness to the process and a peaceful transition of power thereafter. May it be so. Our meditation reading this morning is by Gwen Matthews. Feel that? Each breath, every inhale and exhale, we are living, breathing, connected. We are the whole, complete, beautiful selves that we were born to be. Feel that? In your bones, in your muscles, in your heart, and your blood. That is the extraordinary you. The you who was born for this time, this place, this moment. Feel that? The struggle, the worry, the pain, the loss, the grief. It is still you. You are still whole, complete, beautiful, extraordinary. Feel that. we're fortunate today to have the sermon and the service that has been given to all the congregations from the Unitarian Universalist Association. And this is a service that they create annually, and it's part of their Side with Love campaign. The title is, What If I Only Had 30 Days to Love? The sermon will be presented by Reverend Allie K.C. Bell from Atlanta and Reverend Anya Samler-Michael from Massachusetts.
Don't stop till you find it. There is more love somewhere. I'm going to keep on until I find it. There is more love somewhere. The meaning, some would argue, is almost the same. Elder Henry saying, don't stop until you find it. It's the way I learned the song in my youth, in the churches that I attended. I'm going to keep on until I find it. That's the way I learned the song at Unitarian Universalist congregations. The message, though, is very clear. There is more love somewhere. We must continue on until we find that love, because there is more love somewhere. It is not here, it is somewhere, and we must keep on. We must not give up. We must not give in. We must continue until we find it. It kind of reminds me of this tweet I saw by Joel Leon. He writes, I never saw my mother walk on water, but I saw her wait for the bus in the snow to pay the rent. We define holy differently. And as a hospital chaplain resident, I have lots of time to think about what is holy and what is love. One of my favorite daily duties is joining my voice, thoughts, prayers, and intentions with those of my chaplain colleagues all over the world as we read the prayer requests that have accumulated in the prayer boxes stationed around the hospital from the night before. Some of these requests come from the same people, and we find ourselves transported to them in our daily conversation of lament and thanksgiving, while others are often scribbled and shoved into the box in hopes that something or someone can slow it down or make it stop. Something can shield them from impending doom, as if they are hoping that we chaplains have been equipped with a sort of prayer shield or maybe a love shield that can shield them and theirs from it. And as I make my rounds, I hear people searching for the holy in their hospital rooms when they plead for a cure for what afflicts them. And sometimes I hear people utter a prayer for the holy, for intervention, for help, right before they receive the news of a loved one's death. I see people experience a heaping portion of the holy as they come through horrendous accidents, astonished when they find that they are only a little worse for the wear. And of course, in those moments, everyone seems pretty clear that there's some type of something holy or big that just happened. And it is easy to see that something is holy when it defies what we think of as possible. However, love is holy. It is a holy act that occurs every day. It happens in ordinary encounters between strangers, between colleagues, between families and friends. And not just the romantic love of fairy tales, though there is something special and beautiful and holy in every love and every ever after. But I'm talking about the love that informs, that acts, that empowers, that invites. Love that encourages us to act for the betterment of the interdependent web of all.
Love is an action, says the Reverend Ali Casey Bell, and he means it. Is it a perfect action? Is it the only right action? Will it fix everything that's broken? No, love doesn't show up that way. Chaplains know that. Reverend Ali knows that love does not show up in perfection, but in presence. And love is an action that is reciprocated indefinitely and without ending. Because we are imperfect and mortal, but our love is forever. That great-great-grandmother who held me once, the one I don't remember, save for the light-soaked sepia photo, I feel the love from her arthritic hands on my back. Even now, when I conjure that image, it is the same love that flows through my imperfect hands when I reach out with wonder and presence, without ending. Abraham Joshua Heschel, whose love, whose wonder, and whose presence, whose faith and history drew him to the work of the civil rights struggle with Reverend Dr. King. Heschel committed to King and to civil rights because that work for liberation was grounded in what he understood as the Hebrew scriptures that traced the exodus from Egypt, drawing attention all the while to the imperfection of the liberator, to the fear and the trembling of Moses, and to the trepidatious backsliding of the Israelites. Heschel committed to the work of liberation, knowing that no step, no action, none was perfect, but that every action on the side of liberation, every act of presence was itself a prayer, a brush with the holy, and love incarnate. I draw closest to Heschel's theology when I remember his testimony about our ego. He laughs at the way we mere humans think that we are the ones seeking the holy, but all the while it is the holy that is seeking us, that is waiting for us, present to us, imperfect us, vow-breaking, mess-making us. And all we need to do is, thank you, Heschel, all we need to do is allow ourselves to be found. My colleague was found by a pumpkin. Found by a pumpkin at one of the most powerful protest marches I've ever been on. We were rounding the streets of Edgewood, New Jersey, days after an unlawful, unjust, injurious arrest of Black Lives Matter leaders. We'd been marching to re-hallow the streets, to assert that no one would turn those leaders round. And my colleague was stopped by a person who presented her with a pumpkin. This is miles into the walk, and there was at least a mile to go, and pumpkins, they're heavy. But this pumpkin said, Black Lives Matter, painted by a child's hand. It was the most improbable, imperfect gift. And that pumpkin was love overflowing. It was everything that you don't want to carry. But it was love's presence incarnate. We had been found by the holy, found by a pumpkin, imperfect offering, waiting for us, our imperfect selves, love without ending.
But what if we only had 30 days to love or lament or rebuild? What if we only had 30 days to love the world into the place that we know it could be? Now that seems like a tall order. It seems a bit overwhelming to consider even. In our Time for All Ages, we talked about how loving can be something that starts small and grows bigger. We talked about how loving is something that might even start at home. We talked about how loving is something that is something we must do as humans. And that feels about right to me. And I don't know about you, but after recently moving to a new city, I can feel that in my bones. But how do I even begin to connect to places to make a difference? I don't know. You see, I often get caught up in my own stuff of looking too uninformed, or even worse, being too needy. I often feel really excited about finding connection in my local community and finding a way to get back into community, or finding a way to make the ache stop through action. You know the ache, right? That feeling when you read, listen, watch the news, and you are just immersed in the vastness of all that is unjust, all that is wrong, all that needs people to care, people who desire to bring forth change and to create change. Yet there often seems to not be enough resources, people, not enough care, not enough love. That pernicious cynicism can creep in and act as an immobilizer to my very real desire to act. Does that happen to you? In All About Love by Bell Hooks, she speaks of this cynicism as the great mask of the disappointed and betrayed heart. And when I read that, wow, it hit me so hard, because boy, friends, I can feel that. And if we know anything, we know that as a country, we have all been betrayed by democracy, by the way we were founded as a country, by the way this country was set up at all. We know, for honest and for true, we have yet to have an election where all the people who should have had the right to vote have been able to cast a ballot to vote. We know that some voting districts are rigged to make sure that the right people win. We know this already. Yet we also know that in order to move our country to a place where there's a hope for fairness in our democratic process, we must act together. We have to move beyond our discomfort and connect. And now is the time to act. So, whether your aim is to reform the system, or whether your aim is to tear it down and start it over, there is a place for you in this cacophony of loving witness. The decision to side with justice in all of its forms is loving and holy. The decision to side with justice in all of its forms is loving and holy. We have to. And Bell Hooks invites us. She says, to begin by always thinking of love as an action rather than a feeling, she explains, is one way in which anyone using the word in this manner can automatically assume accountability and responsibility. Imagine an accountable and responsible way of loving. We are often, she continues to say, taught we have no control over our feelings, yet most of us accept that we choose our actions, that, she says, intention and will inform what we do. We also accept that our actions have consequences. And she's right. So, with that framework in mind, if we only had 30 days to love, we would have just enough time to make a real connection, just enough time to act, just enough time to look too eager, to be too cynical, to get disappointed, and to remember that our actions have consequences and we are accountable for them.
Love is an action. And as our dear departed Thich Nhat Hanh has shared, my actions are my only true belongings. Imagine that you only have 30 days to love. 30 days to act your love. That is not enough time to get it perfect. Barely enough time, even to attempt to get it right. And aren't those some of the most treacherous stumbling blocks that befall us, Unitarian Universalists, that befall me so incredibly? That seeking after perfection, that craving after getting it right, the right words, the best action, rather than getting active imperfectly because there is no other way than imperfectly when we are human. 30 days to love is plenty of time to let go of those impossibilities of perfect and always just right, and to let love find you. Plenty of time to be present to those who are aching, to scrawl your love on a pumpkin, to defend what you mean when you utter the prayer democracy. Plenty of time to offer your imperfect self for love's unfolding. Plenty of time to let the holy find you in your imperfection, in the work and in the action. Amen.
We'll now join in singing our closing hymn, number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. we extinguish this chalice.
Dearest beloveds, I close as we began by inviting you to consider living as if you only had 30 days to love your life, 30 days to love this world of people, to love this earth. I invite you to love as the belated bell hooks suggested, with a knowing that, quote, love is really more of an interactive process. It's about what we do, not just what we feel. Love is a verb, not a noun. Live on the side of love.
Blessed be. Our potluck luncheon is now being served in Coleman Hall, and all are welcome to join in.